It's a Tuesday, September 4th, 2011. I'm Arim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, we talk about the surprising Rock of Ages.
Luigi.
It's me, Mario.
Let's do this.
Mario. Mario.
What is the pasta?
I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I remembered while I was on the subway today. I was just thinking about
OhioCon?
old conventions, and I was thinking about OhioCon and how, nowadays
Great.
we're the people who run conventions.
Okay, whatever other news.
If you ever want to disrupt people who have walkie-talkies, pretend to be Mario.
I was going to work today.
You're going to... Okay, this is going to be so much more exciting than my anecdote.
Actually, it might be.
We'll see.
But I'm not going to make it exciting. I'm going to tell it in my usual bland, matter-of-fact
Because I saw a whole bunch of people dressed up as zombies.
with absolutely no sensationalism applied
there was an
whatsoever.
entire crowd of people dressed up as zombies outside my office.
Yeah, the stupid protesters.
And as I was leaving work today, there was a stage on the street and all the stuff for a parade.
Great.
So I don't know what's going on down there.
So I got on the subway to go to work.
All right.
And it's getting to 57th and 7th.
Yeah.
And I get off at the next stop, which is 49th. And the intercom comes on, and they're like, police activity, 49th. We will be bypassing 49th. So I make the quick calculation. Do I get off now, or do I go through to 42nd? I got off now. That was a good move, because even though it's one block further away from the office, it's still close enough.
Well,
and you're getting off the subway, which means you're starting walking sooner.
Because yesterday, the NQ was delayed due to two unrelated incidents. Someone got sick and had to be taken off the train to a hospital, and someone got hit by the train at a different station
I
at the same
figured
time.
when they usually say police activity, that means, that there is a someone fell on the tracks or something along those lines.
The thing is, they usually say, like, if there's a Twitter you should subscribe to that says exactly what happened. Every time.
I should find that Twitter.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I forget what it is offhand. So
Same
it's
way.
always like, someone got hit.
Get off the train, start going south. Eventually, I reach a police line, do not cross, and the street is like empty, and there's a cop there. So, of course, a bunch of New Yorkers duck under the rope and start going to work.
Yep.
And I went with them. And then the cop was like, no, really, no, you got to go back. So we all went back. And I'm go to the cop. I'm like, hey, my work is like right there. Can I just go to work? And he's like, nope, can't go through here. I'm like, I can't just go to work. He's like, call him and tell him you're going to be late. And then some other guy comes up with a bike, and he's fighting with the cop, like, I pay your fucking salary. Don't yell at me, blah, blah, blah.
Bikers.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever.
Actually, I almost got hit by a car yesterday, and I kicked the side of the car and damaged it to prevent them from hitting me, but I digress.
All right, so I go around. As a resourceful New Yorker, I take the other path. So I go around.
Yep.
And I go around, and I go through the park. It was not the real park. The Barclays building open to the public area.
Yeah,
which
because
is a
it's
park.
funny how New York, when they want to block a street or they want to keep people from going somewhere, very rarely do they block all the real ways. So it's like the people who are native to a neighborhood can get around pretty much any police block.
Everything's blocked. I go, I'm getting close to my building, and another blockage.
Oh, wow. Very rarely do they block everything.
But the blockage rope, the plastic rope thingy that blocked, was tied to the door of the service entrance to my building, so I went in.
Nah.
And I get upstairs, and there is nobody there. So I'm looking out the window at the blockage out in the street, and it's pretty empty. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on out there? There's a bunch of cops.
Yep.
They blocked off these two intersections. Nothing's going on. I go on the internet. I'm looking to see what the problem is. I look outside. I see some, cops. They got some trucks. They got some cars. There's a city bus. There's just cops everywhere, and a fireman was there, and an ambulance, and whatever. And there's nothing going on. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? So I go on the internets and the Twitter. Of course, News Google has nothing. I got to go to Twitter.
Yep.
And Twitter was basically like, suspicious package. And I'm like, you motherfuckers.
God damn it.
You fuckers. So I'm watching.
When has the suspicious package ever been anything but someone's underwear or a dildo or something?
So I look out and I'm looking around more closely, and there's one bomb squad guy getting armored up with a big green armor, and he is sweating his balls off, and he's fooling around. They're playing with the armor. The cops are goofing off, right? Then eventually the guy goes over to the bus, goes on the bus, spends some time on the bus, comes off the bus, gives the guy the thumbs up, waddles back over to where he started as fast as he can so they could take all that armor off.
How much do they pay armor-wearing guy? Because, guys, I'll tell you what.
Armor-wearing guy was sweating his balls off, let me tell you.
I'm pretty confident I would not be uncomfortable going up to pretty much any suspicious package in no armor because the odds of it being a bomb.
I also would have right. So then all the other cops help him take the armor off, and they give him a giant water to drink. Then investigator guy goes up wearing nothing, and he starts measuring and evidencing and shit. And then eventually another guy goes on the bus, and he comes out with just some backpack, and he empties it, and there's a bunch of papers and shit in it, and it's a backpack.
God damn it,
Someone
New York.
left it on the bus. So here's my new policy.
Yeah?
If anyone, the policy they want you to do is if you see something, say something, right?
But that just inconveniences everyone.
If I see something, I'm opening it. And you know what? If someone else sees something and points it out and is going to say something, I'm just going over and opening it as fast as I can.
Of course, then, the hipster who's 5 feet away messing with something's going to run over like, thief, masher.
And I'll just be like, here, take your fucking bag. I don't want it.
Yeah.
The only thing I might be worried about is if some other incredibly paranoid person tries to physically restrain me thinking I'm going to kill them by opening the bag.
That would be hilarious, though.
Right.
It would almost be worth it.
Because it's like, the person wouldn't kill me, right? It's like, as long as I just get the bag and open it and be like, see there, good, done.
Maybe we need to make a movement on that front. See something, open it.
That's right.
Let's make this a movement. I'll try to make a poster.
That's what I'm doing. Anytime, I don't care. You know what? And if it's a bomb, if I'm wrong and I die, it's okay.
Scott, you took one for the team.
It's okay.
You took one for the team.
It's okay. It's worth it.
All right, that beats my anecdote about almost being hit by a car and kicking in someone's side panel to avoid it.
Yeah.
Basically, they're gonna swerve over me, and they didn't have their turn signal on or anything. They start swerving. They bump my bike, like the handlebar.
But it's like here's the other.
But it's so fast, right? And I'm like, how can I get this person's attention? Because on my bike, there was no way to get out of their way. I would have been smashed into the curb, and I would have probably been fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So I smacked her window and kicked the car because the smacking would get her attention, and the kicking, I was able to jump myself onto the curb.
Mm-hmm.
So I do this, and simultaneously, she turns to me with the noise and screams and swerves off and stops in the middle of the road. And her side panel was slightly dented, and then I just kept biking because fuck you.
That's right.
Yep.
I haven't actually had to do that.
That was the first time I've ever been almost struck by anything that wasn't another biker.
I actually haven't had those problems, and even though I've been biking to work for 2 years, the only times I've had twice, I've accidentally bumped into people's side mirrors.
Nah, I've never done that.
Yeah, but actually I just, I was just like, oops, sorry, dude.
I almost hit...
It's not like I broke their side mirror, I just sort of popped it backwards.
A Chinatown restaurant delivery guy who, in the middle of the night when I was biking home, right, had no reflectors, no headlights, no nothing, and was riding the wrong way up a dark one-lane bike lane.
I hate those guys. They're all over the place.
He didn't even swerve. He didn't even react.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I had a light blaring in his face so bright. I don't know. I don't think they're like shades just moving from restaurant to restaurant.
Mm.
But anyway, Rage came out.
Gaming news.
Yeah, Rage came out.
Have you played it?
So here's the funny thing.
I played it for my iPhone.
When Rage was announced.
Rage for the iPhone is basically just like the old Area 51 arcade game.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
That was an okay game.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember Rage when it was announced, when people said it was, Rage is coming, I remember thinking, oh shit, it might make a good game.
Well, the thing that I was expecting, they never made a bad game except Doom 3. And Doom 3 wasn't bad. It just wasn't anything.
It wasn't what we care about. It was kind of generic.
So, when they're making Rage, it's like, all right, they made Doom 3. There's no way that they'll make the same mistake again, right?
It seems like
they're
going to
do their usual huge graphical update.
Because I have a new policy. I used to, id FPS is one of those things on the list of games RIM is waiting for that will never come.
Well,
I'm like that dog in Futurama,
not
just
anymore.
waiting. Well, Team Fortress 2, Tribes 2.
Right, but it's because everything gets so cheap on Steam eventually, and this is a single player game.
Yep.
And it's not Half-Life
that's
Episode
the thing.
3.
I bought the last game I bought right when it came out was Fallout 3 because I was actually really excited about it, and
that was a mistake.
I played it.
Should have bought the Game of the Year edition.
Yes, I should have. The Game of the Year edition has stuff.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Assholes. So I don't buy anything when it comes out because A, there's going to be DLCs, and B, get way cheaper.
Well, unless I will buy a game when it comes out.
There's multiplayer activities.
If there is immediate multiplayer activity that I have to get in on or I will miss it. I mean, had I not bought Tribes the day it came out, I would have missed minutes of one of the greatest games ever made, never to get them back.
That's correct.
Had I not played Counter-Strike in the early beta, I would not be the decade-long Counter-Strike player that I am today.
That is correct. But that was free in those days.
Yeah, but Rage, I'm not missing anything by not buying it now, especially because I might buy a single-player game if it comes out and the reviews from both people I trust and people I don't trust are glowing.
Mm-hmm.
But very rarely is that the case. Usually the people I don't trust say games are great, and the people I trust say they're incredibly mediocre. Nintendo was the last company I would buy games from sight unseen, and
I ordered Twilight Princess, whatever. Not the Twilight Princess. What's the new one?
Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I ordered that.
Yeah, but I don't even no Nintendo game is sight unseen for me anymore.
Yeah, I didn't even order
I've
the new
been
Kirby
burned
one.
too many times.
And I didn't even buy the last Layton, but I might buy the next one.
Layton, I kind of burned out on.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't
just
know.
Got sick of it.
I like to count the matchsticks.
I do, but the rest of Layton I got kind of sick of.
Oh yeah, the non-matchstick part.
Yeah, the non-matchstick. It's like, all right, these plots are getting increasingly stupid.
Yeah, they're not the greatest.
And
the plot of the time travel one was the dumbest.
And there are increasing number of bits to twiddle about which I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like the fucking gopher and his little maze.
Well, the hamster.
It's like, dude, I just want to pour water back and forth between the pitchers until
Oh
the
my
right
god! If
amount
you made
of
a
water.
game that was just called Water Pitchers, and it was
And
just
eventually there's like 10 pitchers of water.
on like a 3-dimensional plane with like a fulcrum somewhere. Oh
and
my
you
god!
actually have to pour the water and you can't spill any.
It's an FPS. You're running around on it.
You got to use portals to move the water around.
Oh my god!
Okay.
I kind of want that game now.
Yeah.
But no, I have a long. Rage is a game that go back to a younger, more naive Rim, and I would have waited for this game for 4 years and bought it the day it came out. But Tribes, every Tribes that came after Tribes 2, and all the XCOMs that came after XCOM, and all these games that have just pissed me off or not lived up to what I wanted, especially now that they're not making a multiplayer game that I care about. I didn't even buy Rage, and the reviews are mediocre, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll play
it seems like it's the same thing as Doom 3. Really great graphics and engine and whatever, and typical mediocre, boring, walk around, shooting stuff gameplay.
I mean, Opposable Thumbs said, and I quote, "None of the game's ideas are thought out or fully explored."
Yeah, it's like John Carmack's not even trying to make games. And the thing is, that would be okay if people, if you're making an engine that people actually used. But who used the Doom 3 engine? Nobody. Not that I know.
Or if they did, it was a real company licensing it for something. It wasn't people making awesome mods.
Who's going to make a game on the Rage engine? No, not mods, not other
Yep.
right?
Well, I mean, look at the old
nobody.
business model.
Everyone uses the Unreal Engine and the Source engine.
Quake 1 and Quake 2 were engines, and there were nominally single-player games associated with them. But really, the single-player games are just there to say, hey, check this out, and the real action was in the modding and the multiplayer.
Right.
Why can't we go back to that?
Yeah, right?
I mean, why can't id make an FPS with what amounts to a multiplayer tech demo attached to it and say, modders, make this game?
I think you can make mods for it, but
Oh, no, but it's
everyone's just making source mods. Why the fuck do they need to make mods for Rage?
Well,
Which no one even
I
has.
wanna go one
People would
step
have to
further.
have Rage to make mods for Rage.
I want someone to make the engine. Well, I want id to make the engine that is designed for modding. It is they like the modding.
But you got to compete with the Source engine.
In fact, you know what I'd say? All right, it's $10 to get the quote-unquote game, kind of like how I used to have to buy Half-Life for whatever dollars to then play Counter-Strike, which was a free mod. If you want the dev kit, which lets you gives you crazy modding support, it's like $100.
Yep. The thing is, they got to start where they got to have a bunch of resources available. They got to have all the modding tools. They got to have the dedicated server. They got to have they got to integrate it fully with Steam or something to get the server finder. And they got to have a multiplayer game from day one.
Oh, also, anyone who uses any matchmaking system that's in a browser or isn't just integrated with Steam, I'm done with you.
Or just it doesn't suck.
I'm also done with GameSpy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right. So
Yeah,
Rage
but
was
so
fail.
Rage, it's weird.
Haven't
how-
played it, but all indicators point towards fail.
Yeah, well, especially, here's a quote from Eurogamer. This certainly isn't a video game like the ones we're used to playing in 2011. Smothered in celebrity voice actors and shoulder-grabbingly intense expository scenes, blah, blah, blah. Instead, it's something simpler and more old-fashioned. But yet, that doesn't seem to be what everyone else is saying about it.
Yeah.
If it's old-fashioned, I'm thinking, all right, what, Serious Sam?
Yeah.
I mean, old-fashioned means no single-player game.
Yeah.
What do they mean? Old fashioned as in like 2006?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he means old-fashioned just as in mediocre.
But much more importantly, very briefly, Xenonauts I've been kind of ignoring, but now it's kind of playable and people have been talking about it. And apparently what everyone who's played it or looked at it said is, well, it's XCOM. And the fact that until now, no one has made it's just
how many
XCOM.
people have tried a bunch of times to make It's Just XCOM.
And they're all awful.
And they've all failed technologically or made it something awful.
It's like, how do you fuck that up? How do you take XCOM, make it into, like, I don't know, a first-person free space shooter and think that that will trick us?
Right. But it seems like the Xenonauts people, from what I can tell, have actually made all the XCOM parts. They made the spaceship part.
Yep.
And the of course, the most important, the tactical squad-based part.
But you need
and
both.
The base part. It seems like they've made all three
I'm looking
parts.
at some screenshots here. Mission successful when you beat a mission. Let's see, UFO secured, 0. 5 aliens killed, +5. Guard corpses destroyed. Alien plasma clip, 4.
Oh, shit.
This is exactly...
That's XCOM.
Yep.
Are there fucking mind-controlled shit fuckers all blown around?
Oh, and there's a screenshot of a dude standing there, and you put weapons in his hands. The guy's got M4 in his left hand and M4 in his right hand.
You can't hold 2 M4.
You can.
Oh, shit.
But I haven't played this, but...
You have high hopes.
I do have high hopes.
Indicators point towards yes.
And here's why
Magic 8 Ball says.
Here's why I brought
signs
both of these
favorable.
up. I'm not speaking for every other gamer out there because I understand that people have different tastes and
Some people don't like games. They just want to watch movies where you push buttons once in a while.
it is also
I said it.
easy for me to say that games are good or bad because they're to my taste, but I can understand why some kinds of games that I like and wish would be made don't appeal to anyone reasonable.
They don't have skills
not
brains.
Not just that. It's got Mega TF or like Weapons Factory.
It's
like
horrendously unpolished.
those games
And technologically
even if they were
difficult to get it
polished,
to work, get the right script.
are so complicated that
People who aren't smart enough can't play them.
I might not be able to play them because if someone made a new one of those, I zoom back to my life, right? How did I get good at Mega TF and Weapons Factory? By playing them for like 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
For months on end.
Yeah, but there are people. I'm not talking about people who don't like Mega TF. I'm talking about people who don't like Counter-Strike. Right? It's like, okay, dude.
But I can understand why people might not like games like that. But
they die instantly because they suck.
If for me personally, my taste, and if your tastes align with mine, they don't need to make any new games. There are enough old games that just need to be remade. Pretty
to
much
update them
same.
to modern technology so they work on modern computers smoothly with a good interface.
And I think there is money in
at
this.
full resolution.
Ask any gamer who self-identifies as a gamer who's over the age of like 17, like, hey, would you play XCOM if they made another one? And they'd probably say,
no,
they'd probably
17,
start salivating.
Go ask an 18-year-old, be like, what's XCOM?
Yeah. It depends. A lot of people know XCOM because it's, good old games. People keep playing
I mean,
it.
even like my brother is only 4 years younger than me. He probably doesn't know what XCOM is.
They might know the new XCOMs that really suck. Even the original sequel to XCOM, which was made by mostly the same studio, was terrible. And it was just the same game, just worse.
I might go home and play some XCOM.
Oh my god, I want to
Except
play
I'm
some
going to go
XCOM.
home and play some Counter-Strike instead.
I'm going to install XCOM on my laptop.
It's a laptop game. It's a good idea.
Fuck yeah, in DOSBox.
Yeah, good idea.
Oh my god, I could play that on the subway.
I might. Anyway, there is a game coming out called Risk.
Now, funnily enough, people on the internet think that I knew about this game and already had an opinion about it because there was a Twitter conversation and someone, I just saw like someone added me at one point and said something about persistence in games or something. And I responded with, a generic statement. I didn't look at the history and realize that they were actually talking about this Risk game. And their responses made me realize that I had responded to a conversation. I had no idea what they were talking about, and I looked into it. But people were like emailing me and thought I was being all insightful. I had no idea what you were talking about. But anyway, I didn't know anything about this game.
So there's a game going out called Risk. It's the same Risk that you played in the olden days. Roll 5 red dice against some white ones. Attacker wins.
Well, sort of, because they've done something neat. Something kind of unique.
So this Risk is called Risk Legacy. And unlike Halo Risk, which we still didn't play, or Risk 2010 with the nukes or whatever, this is Risk Legacy. And the way this works is, number one, it's got mechs and shit, which I guess is stylistically good, even though it doesn't make the game any better. But two, is it has persistence. Now, on the one hand, we always fucking complain about persistence in all the games.
No, we don't in all the games, Scott. Here's an example of a game where we don't complain about it. Burning Wheel.
Well, but that is not a competitive game. That is a role-playing game.
But it could be competitive.
That would be lame.
That depends.
Anyway, but in all the games, we complain about the role-playing video games not having enough persistence, like the MMOs, and we complain about the competitive games having too much persistence, like the TF2 and the MMOs with the PvP. Yet here we go, the first instance of the persistence in the board game, and not a tabletop role-playing game, a tabletop board game that is competitive, Risk Legacy. Basically, the deal with this game is, every time you play this game, there are certain things that might happen which will change, quote, the world. So you might put stickers on the board that permanently change the map, or you might tear up cards so that they can never be used again in the game, or you might cross something out with a marker so that it can never happen again, or the rules change forever. So the next time you play the game, it's different, and the next time you play the game is different. Now, obviously, this raises some concerns. Number one, what if you want to reset that shit? Well, if people are going to put their stickers on cards, and they're going to put the cards out in places.
Yep. Now, I want to jump in right now. Scott and I have been talking about this at length. For a game like this, it's a board game. It's not that expensive. You know what? Just go for it. Just go in and play the game the way it's designed, and just go for it, because it's going to be way more epic. The point of this game, to make it a board game, I think, is not to have a game you play and preserve or whatever. When you finish, you're done with this game, you've played it all the way through with your friends over the course of a year, the board that remains and the torn up remains of those pieces and those cards is like the testament of your world. Like, that is the story of your game.
As a role-playing game, that's kind of great. But as a competitive game, you can't take it seriously. But you know what? In this case, it's okay. You know why? Because Risk at its root can't be taken seriously. So to make a game that you can't take seriously competitively and add, this persistence to it, well, it doesn't ruin it because it's already crap. It's like you added poop to my smelly poop.
But it's not just that.
It's already poop, dude.
It's more that it's bridging something into war games that's interesting, where it's kind of, you're interacting in this world. And basically, this is a board game you can play once, but it's not persistent like if you added leveling up to Counter-Strike, where, you've removed the stateless competition. The competition is who comes out on top in the end of this series of Risk games. Yeah. It's like a tournament in a box.
But here's the thing. Number one, what if, you play it once and then someone else plays it and you both permanently affect it? Well, now you don't know what the second guys did, so they have to write like a quest log or something.
My take on this, and I haven't played it yet.
Two, what if you run out it? Like, you torn up all the cards, whatever, the game can't be played anymore, then what? It's like no board game I have can be played out to the point where you can't physically play it anymore. I don't know if that's possible with this game.
I think it is, but here's the thing.
But that kind of sucks. You bought a game and now you just can't play it anymore because you've torn up all the pieces.
Yeah, but at the same time, how much more visceral is it when you pick up like a nuke card that you have, no one else even knows it exists because you opened the seal and looked at it because you found it somewhere. And in the middle of one game, you show it to everyone, you nuke a part of the board, and you rip that fucker up and throw it in their faces.
That was something that they probably don't have in this game, which could be cool, right? Is, they've probably got a bunch of stuff where you permanently change the
Scott,
board.
they do have locked off things that are unknown and are revealed by conditions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was just going to suggest that, not knowing it was in there, but that's awesome. Like,
I went over the list.
You open the game, there's like an envelope, and you don't open the envelope until the time. You open it up, and suddenly there's a surprise.
I have not seen the game yet, but I've read
How awesome
list.
would it be if those surprises were different in different boxes?
Oh my God, then the nerds would go crazy because everyone who plays and actually tears it up is killing a collector somewhere.
And what if it was like randomized, so like magic cards?
But think about what this does. I want to talk a little bit about game mechanics and mechanism design. So when you play Risk or Shogun, aka Samurai Swords, any of those games where one of the problems is that, they're not cooperative games in that you can't make a binding deal. You have to, or even diplomacy, you have to enforce deals in the context of one game. There's no reason not to fucking betray people because at the end of the game, you start a new game. And holding someone's betrayal in a previous game of a stateless game like that against them doesn't really make sense, especially, a good player like me betrays or doesn't betray randomly about 50% of the time.
And also based on, the situation on the board.
Now, imagine instead a game like this where you and 4 other people, let's say, are playing this box through over time. If I betray you, you taking that into account is contextual in all the future games. So alliances, they're still not cooperative in that you still have to enforce alliances with force in the context of the game. You have such greater opportunity to do so that suddenly diplomacy matters a whole lot.
That's
where
true.
in real Risk, if diplomacy matters, your friends are idiots or you're being tricked.
Yep. But despite all that, this is still Risk.
Oh, yeah.
Which is problem.
But I will admit, as much, we think about games a lot. We talk about them a lot. We lecture on them at like PAX. I had never considered making a board game permanent or stateful in any capacity.
This is a genius idea. And you know what I think we need to do to make this idea to have its full potential?
Do it with a game that isn't Risk?
Let's do it with fucking Small World / whatever.
Yeah.
As opposed to Risk. Imagine that. You're playing Small World, right? Someone breaks out like demon something. You find out that when that combination happens, then suddenly you open up the demons come out from hell or something, and now there's a new area on the board that's forever there, and there's now this demons coming out every turn or some shit, and this mountain is now a plain. It got exploded. It's now a volcano.
The fact that this game came out, and I'm gonna do some press stuff.
Forever.
I want to talk
every
to the
time you
people,
play in the future.
I want to talk to the people who designed it for real. I want to get some interviews with them because this unlocked an area. Like I'm already writing like panels based on this concept.
Yeah, well, it's designed by Rob Daviow. I don't know if that's the same Rob Daviow I follow on Twitter. It might be.
Yeah, I'm
there's
looking into that.
Another guy, Chris Dupuis.
It appears to be not available on Amazon, so I'm gonna go to like the Complete Strat tomorrow and try to pick it up.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, it says playing time 60 minutes. I've never seen a Risk that takes 60 minutes. If that's true, it might actually be feasible for us to play this 10 times or so.
Risk does only take about an hour if nobody is a slow dumbass.
Right, but the thing is, how would this work? It says 3 to 5 players, so we need another person.
We got to get a set of 5 people who are willing to play this with us on a regular basis to completion.
On the Wednesday night gaming?
Maybe, because the Wednesday night gaming doesn't have a lot of people coming.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. So anyway, things of the day.
Oh, we got some good things of the day right here for you.
I think we do.
I've been digging deeper down the internet holes to find some gems.
Well,
lately.
I learned something recently. You see, I like musicals, and I'm a big fan of 1776. It's got
pretty good.
It's got a lot of charm. Like, it's not good in the same way that like Rent or Les Mis is good, but it's good in this like.
I think it's better than Rent.
Have you seen Rent?
Yeah.
Nah. I don't. It's not bad in that the writing is a little derpy at times, but it's very endearing. It's witty funny instead of like guffaw funny.
I prefer the witty funny.
The acting's great too. But anyway, so I had seen 1776 like a decade ago, and that was the last time I'd seen it. And apparently, in between the last time I had seen it and when some friends of ours brought it over to watch together the other night,
I have to watch it. I haven't watched it in 100 years.
I did not know existed that had been cut from the original had been re-added.
Oh, snap.
And there's a story.
But is this one of those cases? The thing is, usually when something is cut, it's like it should have been cut, right? For example, you watch those Futurama outtakes, and it's like, yeah, I see where they were going with that joke, but I'm glad they took it out of the episode because it doesn't belong in there.
But no. It turns out that Richard Nixon himself wanted this song removed because it was patently offensive. In fact, he ordered that the negatives be destroyed, and supposedly the director...
that's censorship. That's not allowed.
No, because it wasn't an order as in by force of law. It was as in, that's a nice movie you got there.
All right.
Here, I'll just read the paragraph from Wikipedia. The song, Cool, Cool, Considerate Men, depicts Revolutionary War-era conservatives as power-hungry wheedlers focused on maintaining wealth.
Yeah.
According to Jack Warner, the film's producer and friend of U.S. President Richard Nixon, Nixon pressured him to cut the song in the 1972 film version of the show, which Warner did.
So it wasn't censorship. It was
Nixon apparently saw the song,
pushed him around.
Yeah, as an insult to the conservatives in his time, which it definitely was.
Yes.
Conservatives of all time. It's a fantastic song. Like it was striking how relevant, not just that song, but actually all of 1776
I don't
is.
understand why people are continuously surprised when they look at history and they see the exact same problem of today repeated in the past.
I mean,
it's
wasn't
like,
it- was it
were
not,
you
Scott?
not paying attention?
Was it
the
not-
history has been the same story for centuries and upon centuries. Nothing has fucking changed. It's like people continuously, A, are surprised that the past was the same
Scott,
as today.
was it not
and
Julius
B,
Caesar who went to war with Gaul after tricking the Senate into thinking that they
Right.
were a threat?
And B, not only are they continuously surprised that the past had the same problems as the present, government and politics-wise, but also B, are so naive to think that their time in which they live is the time at which it will change.
So
or that
anyway-
it will ever change.
So anyway,
Just like the people who think the world will end in their lifetime.
so Nixon and Jack Warner also ordered the negative of the song to be shredded, so it would never be seen by anyone. And the editor secretly kept it intact, and it was re-added to the remastered DVDs.
George Lucas, take a fucking lesson.
So this song is now like one of my favorite songs in 1776.
Well,
because
I mean, the content of the song
but it's
is
also a really good
excelente.
song.
The song is an okay song. I actually prefer some of the other songs better.
what's your favorite song in 1776?
I do not know because
me,
it has
I
been
think
so
it's-
long. But
it's
I
either-
remember
It's
there being-
either Homicide or the slave song at the end.
I have very little memory because it has been so many ages.
You should
but
watch it
I
again. I, think
remember
we could
there
do a show on
being-
1776.
I think so as well. But I just remember there being incredibly catchy songs, and I also remember that this song, it was just like, okay, that's funny.
Oh, also, critics hated 1776.
Why?
Quote the New York Times, "The music is resolutely unmemorable. The lyrics sound as if they'd been written by someone high on root beer."
It's better to see it on like Broadway on stage than the movie, I think.
I think the movie's great, though, because it has some really high caliber actors and some pretty great stage cinematography.
Yeah,
Ebert hated it, too.
really.
I didn't know
What
that.
did he say?
He said, "This is an insult to the real men who were Adams, Jefferson, Franklin, and the rest."
What? That's the point.
Are you kidding? I get the impression that this is a surprisingly and scarily accurate representation
I
of
think
what
it's
they
one
were
of those
like.
things where in some ways it's clearly more accurate than a history book, and in some ways not, right? It's like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Anyway.
So I have something really awesome for you.
Oh, do you?
This is MC Hammer, except not. This is MC Hammer if he was Japanese.
This
It is so epic.
This is pretty great. I defy you to get a bunch of friends. Don't watch the video. Get a bunch of friends together, turn it on, and just watch it and have a bet. The first person to laugh owes everyone else $5.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of times people are able to keep from laughing. I mean, I can even keep from laughing on the video.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
You have to do a video challenge.
Sure. But yeah, if you go around the internet, actually, we've done a lot of research into the openers and closers and various television shows, movies, and things in other languages. But here's a new area in which is, hit pop songs or hit songs that are re-sung in other languages by cover bands. Not only, but translated into the other languages. And there is a gold mine out there, especially, of course, the land of Japan, where everything crazy and hilarious comes from, but other countries as well. You can go and look for, say, Italian Rolling Stones and see what comes up. I just pulled that out of the air. I don't know if that exists, but, some people, of course, in other countries just listen to songs in English, but there are many instances of songs translated, and much humor can be had, especially if a music video was produced.
So anyway, very briefly in the meta moment, the book club book, for which there will be an episode shortly, was The Ear, the Eye, the Arm by Nancy Farmer. The next
The
book
Arm.
is Scott's Choice, which has not been announced
You'll
yet.
find out in the Ear, the Eye, the Arm episode.
Is that like Sophie's Choice?
No.
No?
No.
Do you have any idea what you're going to pick?
I'm having some ideas. I'm thinking, what do you think? A possible double book.
Double book. That's...
And
you
they're
realize,
both small book.
but you realize...
They add up to be...
Scott, I will warn you of one thing and one thing only.
Yep.
Double book, should you do it, sets a precedent, and I choose after you.
But here's the thing about double book is that they're too tiny book. I'm not doing double book like War and Peace followed by, what's the book you love so much?
The Count of Monte Cristo.
I'm not doing Count of Monte Cristo, War and Peace double book. I'm doing like Hop on Pop followed by Cat in the Hat double book. Right?
All right.
If I did Dr. Seuss top 10, that would count as one book. Am I right? So if one of the books takes 2 hours to read, and the other book, takes 2 hours to read, I think that's okay as a double book.
If you will be at the New York Comic Con or the Anime Ghetto inside of the New York Comic Con, we will be there as a
Normal people.
Well, no. Scott will be a normal person. I'm Press, and Emily's a professional.
I'm actually thinking about spending
And if
some
Scott
time.
had any goddamn patience, he would have also had a press badge. But no, he bought a badge instead of waiting for me to sort out
Well,
paperwork.
I figured worst case, if I thought you were still going to do the paperwork.
I did it,
All right.
and I got a badge. But since you already had a badge, I only got one.
Oh, but so I was saying, if you got 2, I was planning to give mine away as like a prize or something.
I might be able to get you one.
All right,
It's a
well,
little late in the game.
I know, but that was I didn't know that I thought I had under the impression that you had tried to get 2 and got 1.
I had not tried to do anything.
Oh.
I do or do not.
Oh, well. Anyway,
but
either way, I got a badge.
But
I'm actually
we
gonna
will not be presenting at the con because, as far as I can tell, the only panels that are like what the lectures we do are on a stage in a public area, like the place where Star Wars people fight. I don't know. I'm going to reserve my judgment of the content of the panels at this con until
I
we
see
attend.
it, yeah.
But in the
It's
immortal
not to look so good.
in the immortal words of Mario, it's not to look so good.
I am actually going to spend some time at this convention because it only takes a few hours to go see everything. I'm actually going to spend some time. I'm going to try to see a couple famous people, like Frank Miller. I just want to see him.
You want to see him? I can put a slot in for a press interview.
Maybe. Also,
I might demand an interview with the Dr. McNinja guy just so I can be like, hey.
yeah, we can try to let's interview all the low-hanging fruits like that. And then B, I'm actually going to spend some time sitting on the floor digging through comic boxes looking for some old-ass comics that are missing.
Some gems.
Yeah, some gems. Looking for the buried treasure. Like, I need new Kids on the Block #2.
I'm going to do something because last time I have all this video of I walked around the con on Saturday and Sunday, and the vast majority of the panel rooms were empty except for the people presenting. So I want to see if the same thing happens this year.
We should make an expose, like, look at these fucking empty panel rooms.
Yep. So we'll see. I'll be there Thursday, and we'll be there probably some points of Friday and Saturday. I don't know if we'll actually...
I'm actually gonna take the day off work Friday just because I can. I'll stroll over there late, take a nice long morning sleep, hang out, meet some people I meet there, maybe get some arts from the artist alley.
Yep, some of you have emailed us, so if you want to hang out, we'll be around the con. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah,
keep it loose.
Use the Twitters to find us and such. All right.
We will be at, and I highly recommend you also be at, MagFest.
Next year.
It's not a convention.
It's
a
not
fest.
that far away because it's already Rocktober.
It's January. And you know what? I think the hotel might sell out.
Yep.
So.
B, just quick to end this meta minute, which is suddenly becoming the meta hour. You should check us out on the internets and all the places we are on the internets: Facebook, Twitter, frontrowcrew.com, forum.frontrowcrew.com, etc., etc. And I just want to remind everyone, nothing to do with us. It is October, which means only one thing.
Apple bucking?
No.
Pumpkin pie?
No. Monster Madness.
Oh shit! That started.
It fucking
3 days
did.
ago.
I already watched. I didn't watch today's yet.
What's
though.
the theme? What's the theme?
Every week is another set of sequels. So week 1 is all Frankenstein sequels. We're going to see what week 2 is probably going to be all Dracula. I'm guessing it's probably going to be like all Freddy one week, something like that. So yeah, it's sequelitis on cinemassacre.com. Monster Madness.
Monster Madness.
If you haven't watched Monster Madness, go back, watch all the old Monster Madness from the beginning.
Oh my god, I am so pumped about this.
I know.
I forgot about it.
Don't forget to go to cinemassacre.com every single day of the month in October. Go to cinemassacre.com.
So, Rock of Ages. It's it's a game that you might have watched the trailer. We talked about
It's
it
Monkey
before.
Ball plus Tower Defense.
Yep,
Monkey Ball Defense.
With Monty Python-esque animation and art.
Which is high quality. The art is stunning. I just got to say, right, the Terry Gilliam style of graphic design going on in this game.
And I'm a big fan of that.
Excellent. And also the history plus mythology that goes into it.
But coupled
also
with...
muy excelente.
It's the history and all
Mario
that.
says, this look very good.
Coupled with
Yippee.
Monty Python-esque humor of fart noises when you crush Charlemagne and things like that. I love the eek they make when you bust into their chambers.
And the way they wiggle around.
But I wish they ran away. I wish you had to chase them around
10
the room.
style points for Rock of Ages.
So we won't review the style because it's great.
Yeah, there's not really that much to say about it except for amazing style.
The single-player game plot is you're Sisyphus. I think you can figure it out from there.
If you don't know who Sisyphus
and if you don't know who
is,
Sisyphus is, stop listening
what
to
the
Geek
fuck?
Nights.
Seriously?
Yeah, go.
I mean, you don't need to be a mythology expert, but I mean, all I know is Sisyphus pushed the rock up the hill.
Sisyphus, in the
that's
very
enough.
least.
That's all you got to know.
Well, no, he didn't actually push it up the hill.
Yeah, he
tried.
He tried.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so this game came out early September, about a month ago. It's $10 on Steam. I'm sure during the Steam holiday sale it'll be much cheaper. Maybe buy it then if you really want to. It's also on the Xbox. I wouldn't buy it on Xbox. I would always pick, if something's available on Steam and Xbox, I'd always pick Steam. But that's because I have a computer connected to my TV. If you are dumb and don't have a computer connected to your TV and you don't have wireless Xbox controllers for your computer, maybe you should buy it on Xbox. And that sucks. Anyway.
So the gameplay, as far as we could tell from the trailer, was that you build tower defense style defenses and you alternate between that and monkey balling a rock into someone's gates.
Yeah, so basically you start the game and there's a big ramp, right? Monkey ball style. And at the end of the ramp is a gate. And when that gate is smashed open, your character is in that gate and he's going to get squished and then you lose. So there's two symmetrically opposed ramps with gates at either end, and you take turns rolling a rock down this ramp monkey ball style. Now, the controls are pretty good. They're smooth, but they're not monkey ball smooth. And
they're very, full of momentum.
Yeah,
it is very hard to turn your rock.
And the camera control is not ideal either. It's kind of loosey-goosey, and you can never quite get the camera exactly where you want it. Like, I'll rotate the camera to the side because I'm going around a turn, and I want to be able to see what's coming up around the turn, but then I can't really see where I'm going. It's like I can't get the camera zoomed out to the right spot enough. I don't know. But it's good enough, right? It's not like the controls ruin the game. They're just sub-perfect, not par, right? So you roll your rock down the hill, you smash a bunch of stuff. When you smash stuff, you get money, which is important.
Yep.
And eventually you get to the bottom and you smash into the gates. If you fall off, you get dropped back on, but you lose time, which is actually really important because your opponent is also rolling his rock down the hill, and it's a race. So
it's whoever smashes the other guy's dude first.
So if you fall off, you lose time, but that means the other guy is now ahead of you and you're in big trouble. Big trouble.
Now, the concept of this game was fantastic, and we bought it basically without seeing any reviews because we assumed
and it
there's
was
a lot
worth
of potential.
It for the style, but it might not be worth it for you.
So one, there's no single player game. Don't even
there is a single player game.
All right, there's a half hour of a single player game at the end of which is a locked gate, and if you didn't pick up all the MacGuffins along the way, you can't get past it.
Yeah, it's sort of annoying.
I didn't even bother.
I can't get past death, but then again, I haven't tried. The
Black Plague. I beat death on my first try.
I didn't get past the Black Plague, but then again, I stopped trying after a few tries.
Yeah. So the trouble with the game when we played it right away is that I assumed, all right, this game is really only going to be good multiplayer. One, memorization of the maps matters more than almost any other factor. There are Mario Kart style shortcuts on most of the maps. So for most of them, the game comes down to, what's the Mario Kart bullshit way to get down faster, and how to, try to block the other person from doing the Mario Kart bullshit way.
So that they have to go the long way around, which makes them go slower, which means you'll get your rock down the hill faster with less damage and smash their gates faster.
Map memorization matters more than any skill.
Right, because it doesn't matter how you build the defenses or any of that stuff. If you know the right way to go down the hill and there's defenses in the way, you can get around them.
Two, defenses by and large don't mean shit.
Like I just said.
Yeah, but you also don't get enough time to build them. I want 3 times more time or configurable time for multiplayer.
Yeah, or give me more money to build the freaking defenses. You can't build a significant enough number of them to actually make any sort of defense. And you're only allowed to build them in these very limited areas where the board is white. You can't
I should be able to build them anywhere.
If I could just build it, I think they probably tested building them anywhere and realized that people just make horrible, impossible to pass defenses.
Which would have been way more fun.
Which would have actually helped the game out a lot if people could build nasty defenses like that.
Yep.
But as you can't. So basically, all your defenses can do is slow down the other guy a tiny bit. And if he knows the map, knows the ways down the hill, and is actually good at controlling the rock, no matter how well you build the defenses, even if you have infinite money, if you're limited to those little areas, you really can't build an effective defense. No defense anyone has built has been effective against me, especially since the rock can jump. I tried to get clever. I built a big wall with dynamite in front of it.
Yeah, you made 3 dynamite deep. I still jumped the whole fucking thing.
Rim just jumped over the whole thing, and it's like, really? What could I possibly have done there?
I had a lot more success by making a surprisingly deep checkerboard of dynamite.
Yeah, I would have put catapults behind it to knock you back when you tried to jump into the dynamite in the walls.
But you didn't have enough money.
No, I had money. There was no place to do that. There was no place on the board with enough white room next
And
to
really,
it.
it just comes down to the mechanics are really neat. You place defenses, and each defense type is really unique, and there's many different levels that cost more, like cow, elephant, like mammoth, whatever. But you don't have enough time or money, despite the fact that you can do cool stuff.
And it's like, well, you do have more time. You actually have infinite time, but eventually your rock is ready to roll.
And you want to roll that rock.
You need
right
to roll
away.
that rock immediately, or else you're screwed.
Because so we played this game. Number of rocks to the bottom was the only factor that mattered.
Yeah,
and it was
I play in single player.
3 rocks.
3 rocks. Whoever, it pretty much the game boils down to, no matter what defenses you build, none of that matters.
Once.
Whoever gets 3 rocks to the bottom of the hill first wins. End of story.
When
End of
the
story.
first time I played against Death, the only time I played against Death, his 3rd rock left a tiny sliver because for whatever reason the rock was basically a baseball by the time it got to the bottom.
But
So-
yeah, 99% of the time, 3 rocks to the bottom first wins. So whoever's better at the monkey ball rock rolling part,
Which is
the
mostly
king.
memorization.
It's just mostly memorization because the controls, while not perfect, they're really good, and you can get a hold of them with your Xbox controller.
Now, we saw all these problems when we played the single player. We had not actually played multiplayer.
We kept
so,
planning to play the multiplayer online,
So
which it does support,
Yep.
but we did not because we just didn't.
Now, it does online and local split screen, and they're both done as well as they can be done.
Yep.
But here's the trouble. So, as we went to play it today, there was a Steam update.
Yeah,
and I
we played
installed it,
multiplayer for the first time today before playing the real game.
and there was an
before
update we
doing
did
the
not
show.
know about. And the second line item is, now I'll read it verbatim, recalibrated boulder damage to castled gates. Smaller boulder sizes do less damage so that not all matches can be completed in 3 rolls.
So they knew. This gave me some confidence because A, there's a patch, right? And B, the people who making the game knew that this is a problem. Now, this is rare. Usually you get a case where you have games sometimes have technology problems. Sometimes they have, games can have a lot of different problems. But mostly what I've seen lately is games with balance problems, like a really good tower defense game where they just didn't think about the numbers. So it ends up just use the laser tower, don't use any other tower, and the game's boring, right?
Yep.
Or B, technology problems, NS2. They keep working on balancing the game, but their networking just fucking doesn't work.
Yeah, that one skulk biting the frozen marines for an hour.
Exactly.
What I don't get is, why is that one skulk playing? It's a human.
I don't
What
get
are you
it.
doing? Why are you just sitting there on a full server biting a bunch of T-pose marines? Like, is
Maybe
that
they
fun?
don't see that, and only we have the problem.
So what does
Maybe
he
someone
see?
has like an NS2 virus. He's playing the real game. It's for real. It's just our computers are fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Rock of Ages had the problem where they didn't think about the numbers. So it ended up being 3 rocks.
But the
boring.
fact that they knew the exact problem.
And they patched it, or at least attempted to patch
So as far as I can tell, the patch did nothing.
we played it multiplayer, and it's still 3 rocks to the bottom wins.
Yep.
Nothing has changed, even though the patch said they changed it.
All you guys have to do is give us 3 times. No, give us for multiplayer configurable amount of time and money scaling.
Give the players tons more money so they can build a lot more defenses. Make the rock.
Now you might think, Rim and Scott, you can get more money by hitting more stuff on the way down. Then it doesn't matter because then you're too slow and the other guy gets 3 boulders and wins anyway.
Right. Also, make the rocks do a very small amount of damage.
It should be on average, I think, 5 rocks if they're all perfect.
Right. So, for example, you should scale the game to where if a guy rolls 5 rocks to the bottom and each rock is unscathed, it didn't fall off, it didn't touch a single cow, it didn't do anything, it hits that wall completely unscathed, that does exactly 20% of the full health bar. If it gets hit by even 1 catapult, that should mean that you now need a 6th rock, right? It should do a significant amount of damage, and the rocks should be so vulnerable to defenses. Don't make the defenses actually be more dangerous. I kind of like how you can't build a perfect defense that can't be passed. But, you do get damaged by defenses sometimes if they're set up cleverly, and they do slow you down a little bit. They just need to damage the rock a lot more so that even though it inevitably gets to the bottom, right, the amount of damage it does is very minor. Also, if a rock falls off the edge, you don't get it back. You got to build a new rock.
Yep.
Also, maybe consider playing with allowing people to spend money to build the rock faster, right? For a lot of money, though. A lot. So it's like I give up on defenses, even though they're much more effective now, to get another rock really soon because I fell off the edge.
The
to
only
make
way,
up
now
for
the
it.
real way to fix this, you guys who made this game, don't like try to figure out the balance. Just make it all configurable in the multiplayer, and the crowd will figure it out in a hurry.
Yeah, and collect data from all the clients, see what people are configuring in their games.
Oh, you don't even need to. I don't care what you're configuring. Just as long as I can change it, I'll be really happy with this game.
Yeah, make it like, let me configure rock health, damage, money, all those things. Yeah, but that basically, if you can't tell, the game has this problem, right?
Yeah, the multiplayer
3 rocks
is
to the bottom.
pretty fun.
However you set up your defenses matters almost none at all. That's it.
Yep, and it's such potential, and I hope...
Yeah, they had such a great idea, such great artistic execution, just bad balance. And the game rules.
Granted,
they've had details.
They've had an update on September 9th, September 14th, and September 16th.
So they're working on it, I guess.
So hopefully they will keep making
changes. But have they played it?
I don't know. I don't get... Maybe they might be in the... I've seen developers do this before. It's your game. You're really good at it, and so are the people you're playtesting with.
Yeah, it's an indie game, so they probably don't have real testers, and they're probably not testing on real people.
So they're probably setting up, like the perfect defenses that only they know to do, and they're so good at the game they can build it very quickly, but the interface is not good enough for a normal player to build a good defense quickly, or an interesting defense in the amount of time and money you're given.
It would be easier to set up the defenses with a mouse than with the gamepad, right? So, yeah.
But here's another flaw that really annoys me. So I bought it on Steam. It's fine. But if I play it on my TV, I have to use the mouse to click on all the stupid menus.
Yeah, if you were controlling the game with the gamepad, which they support, but they don't allow you to control the game menus with the gamepad. What the hell?
WTF, mate?
Even though it's a PC game, it's clearly a gamepad game. And if you're supporting gamepad, you need to support gamepad in the entire user interface as well as the game itself. People can't be switching back between mouse and keyboard and gamepad. If they're using gamepad, they've probably got their computer hooked up to their TV. Anyway.
No, otherwise, I mean, cool stuff they could do that I know they're not going to do. But I'd love to see 2-on-2 where one guy's bouldering constantly and one guy's defending constantly.
It doesn't seem like they did a lot of experimenting with the modes, right? Number one, in the regular mode, multiplayer mode, is you can't really pick your characters. You can only, not that the character matters, but you can't pick it. All you can pick is the map.
Granted, I would like the character to matter.
I would like the character to matter. Give each character a special power, advanced wars or magical drop style.
Yeah.
Also, there's only one other multiplayer mode, which is skee ball mode.
Which is actually pretty fun.
It's actually okay.
The problem is the scoring is kind of weighted, that you get minor amounts of points, basically negligible points, for hitting stuff on the way down, which also slows you down.
Yep.
Whoever gets to the skee ball at the end first gets N times their score. And
so,
being
for
the hole
example,
they get into, which is pretty much always 4 or 5.
Yeah, for example, me and Rim roll down the hill, right? We both smash a bunch of stuff. I get about 500 points. He gets about 600.
All right.
I make it to the bottom of the hill first, and I go into the big skee ball machine, and I land in number 3. That means my score is multiplied by 3. And
so my score is basically effectively rounded down to 0.
Right, because my score is multiplied by 3, his is multiplied by 1.
Now, despite
whoever gets to the bottom of the hill first gets the multiplier. No one else does.
It worked out pretty well once we played it a few times, because you get 3 rolls, and the last several games we played, at the beginning of the 3rd roll, we were like neck and neck.
Yeah, it actually sort of worked out.
My only complaint.
But we were pretty much just racing. It was pretty much smash a couple things, then get to the hill first at the bottom before the other guy.
My only complaint about this mode. I want it to be configurable. Pick how many rounds you do. Pick what multipliers are available.
Also, how cool would this be if you could have more than 2 rocks at once?
Yeah.
Imagine there are 5 rocks going down the hill, right? And then only one guy gets the multiplier.
Or you alternate. 5 rocks go, one guy's making a defense, and then you round robin.
I also think it would have been cooler if the stuff you smash is the multiplier, and then you right? So, for example, every time you smash anything, you get your multiplier goes up by 1, and then at the bottom you go in the skee ball, which is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and you multiply the 2 numbers together. That would have been and everyone gets to go in the skee ball, right? But
there's got to be a major bonus for getting down first,
right? Going first would just be X2 for that round.
Nah.
Right? So that way, you still have, the score is you still have an incentive to get there first. You still have an incentive to smash a lot of things. You still get a huge bonus for going in the right hole on the skee ball, but you're still racing, so you're not taking your time to smash everything on the whole course. Plus, you can have the game end, right? As soon as the final guy gets in the skee ball, then the game immediately ends You know, because that guy got the X2 on the final round, and now no one else can smash anything on that final roll. So if you, for example, were so slow, you're still doing your first roll while people are on the 6th roll, then screw you. Also, it would be kind of cool if you could be more opportunities to bump people off the track.
Yep. But all that aside, I mean, those are all just, oh, hey, this is what I would do. I mean, it's not our game. But all they need to do, really, to take this game out of the, yeah, it's pretty fun, to the, like, serious, we're playing this every other night, multiplayer versus, and caring about the outcome, would be to let us configure the parameters of multiplayer.
Let us just mod it. Let us mod it. Let us make maps. Let us make modes.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind making maps, but really, all I need is I want to be able to configure the amount of time I get to build, which comes down to how long it takes to make a rock, the damage rocks do when they hit the bottom, and the scaling of how much money everyone gets per round.
Also, the one thing we didn't mention is you get money, you know, and then you use the money to build defenses, but you can also use the money to buy a bigger rock. If you don't build defenses, you can use the money to buy a fancy
bigger rock is kind of like
the
dumb.
Bigger rocks are pretty useless. Like the spike rock and the lava rock really don't significantly help. It still takes 3 rocks to win. I've bought the expensive rocks many times.
There are higher up rocks I've never used, like the one with wings. I don't know what it does.
Yeah, but it's like I bought the more expensive rocks, and it still took 3 rocks to win, so might as well use the small one.
So
right?
I guess, guys, you are close to greatness. It's such a good concept, and you're so close. It would take so little to put this on my short list of games I play regularly, including such, you know, games as Counter-Strike and Natural Selection.
Yeah.
You are literally, like, right there.
Nah, they're good, but they're not that good.
If they did all the stuff we just said,
it'd be okay.
I
I'd definitely play it a lot.
You know what it'd be on the level of?
Hive.
Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet or the Hive.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not a bad level to be on.
Because that's a game I play regularly.
That's right.
You could even up the price to like $15 if you did all that stuff.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe they make it DLC.
Maybe. They should. Rock of more ages. Rocks of ages.
Steel of ages. I don't know.
Bronze of ages. Rock of bronze age. I don't know. You guys come up with the clever pun.
Sure.
I'm saying you guys like they're listening to Geeknights.
Maybe they are.
The listener might disagree.
Let's link to their page and maybe they'll notice.
Maybe they'll notice, and then they'll listen to this part and be like, oh, how delightfully meta.
Yes.
You are quite.
Quite.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.